Hello, welcome, good evening. We are back with more Arcade Spirits because it's amazing. So let's go ahead and load our save here. I remembered to make hot tea, so hopefully that'll help my throat as I play. Ooh, it's still too hot. It is the future year 20XX. And you know what? Things are pretty okay. I've worked as a floor attendant at the Funplex for 2 weeks now. Hard work, to be sure, but rewarding. In a spiritual sense, at least. I've helped Naomi repair pinball games. I've had tea with Francine while she reminisced about the far-out 1906Xs. I've evacuated gamers when the kitchen accidentally caught on fire. I've had numerous kids puking up nachos on my clothes. I've scraped gum off any number of surfaces. I've chased what turned out to be entirely too many spiders out of a single skee-ball machine. Okay, look. I know I'm not painting this as a very rosy picture so far, but honestly, I'm happy. I'm happy even amidst the chaos and the grossness. I'm happy. And that's all that matters. Right? Right! You're happy. This is the best I've seen you in ages. Before you'd come home all drained and exhausted. Now, well, you're still tired, but a good tired. My roommate Juniper, she'd taken to stopping by during her lunch break whenever she could get away from her office cubicle long enough to do so. Still hard work, don't get me wrong. But overall, it's good work. I just feel good. Totally good and stuff.
Yes!
Good. Agreed. Super good. Double plus good. Iris, we talked about you listening in on my conversations. What did I tell you about that? To pretend I wasn't eavesdropping even when I am? Exactly. You know, I'd be more upset about my creepy privacy-invading digital overmistress, but I have to admit that Iris really pulled through for me. Even if she also ordered a 3-month supply of pizza bagels on my behalf.
When you have pizza on a bagel...
So, Juniper, how long do you have left on your break? Any time to squeeze in some pinball or something? I can spot you tokens. No can do. Our new assistant synergy manager arranged a team-building exercise. I have to, like, move colored bits of paper around or something, then exchange high fives. Assistant synergy manager? That sounds like a very fag job. No, it's actually entry level. Good pay, and right on track to middle management. Pretty cushy if a bit dull. Funny thing is, they asked me if I knew anybody who'd fit in before they started advertising for candidates, and I said, nope, who'd want to do that? When was this exactly? Oh, 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, right when I needed to find work, you told them you didn't know any good candidates for a well-paying entry-level job.
Oh, well, but you wouldn't have liked being an assistant synergy manager, right? Not one bit.
Juniper, please tell me you told them no because I'd already taken this job by that point, not because you forgot.
Hey, I didn't forget. I just, didn't bother telling you about the open position that night. I mean, you'd already had so many jobs you hated. I knew you'd hate being an assistant synergy manager, so I didn't feel the need to tell you. And it all worked out, right? You just spent the last 5 minutes telling me how happy you are here.
Not a lie. I was happy here indeed. Also not a lie, having packed pizza bagels for lunch, after having pizza bagels for breakfast, because we barely had enough money to cover the rent this week, pooled together. Also not a lie. Gavin constantly hiding the numbers from us, insisting things were fine, all while dryly joking about perpetually being on the edge of crash and burn. Voices are a bit quiet. Let me turn things up a hair. Let me know how that is. Also not a lie, that every time someone in my family tried to chase after happiness instead of stability, we fell deeper and deeper into debt and misery.
Ooh.
Say something. You're scaring me. When I lost my lifeguard job, I barely reacted. Didn't care that I was impoverished again and facing an uncertain future. I guess one of the nasty side effects of no longer going with the flow is no longer being numb to the reality of your situation. But I shouldn't feel upset. I've been genuinely enjoying my time at the Funplex. I don't need some grand reason why I feel this good deep down inside. I have no right to be angry or upset at losing an opportunity to save for a more stable future. Right? Honest truth. So I won't be angry or upset. Simple as that. I decided I was done compromising, right? Done with settling, going with the flow. I'm going to be the one to break the family curse. I chose this path of my own free will, even if I didn't have all the facts at the time. But if I'm going to be honest, boundless confidence doesn't cover the simple fact that I chose to be vulnerable rather than safe. The arcade closes. Anything else goes wrong. Still, no need to dump all that on Juniper. It's okay, Juniper. You were right. I've hated that job. And things are great here.
Good. You were kind of freaking me out. Trust me, it's the right decision. You'd learn to loathe working at my office, like I do. I mean, sure, the pay is good, and you get solid health insurance, and paid vacation time, and they have a sweet coffee shop right in the lobby. And these really great chairs that support your lower back, like $1,000 chairs from Sweden crafted by master chairsmiths.
Juniper, I said it's fine. Everything is fine. Honestly, it's okay. I mean, I won't deny that job would have been a safer bet. I want to contribute my fair share to the apartment rent, you know? But what's done is done. I'd rather look forward than back.
Right. Forget I said anything. Please, forget I said anything. I'm sorry. I should have told you. I shouldn't have held that back. But I still wouldn't have pushed you to take the job. It's totally horrible at my office. You'd have been miserable there, like me.
Juniper, it's cool. You're right. I'd have hated it. Okay, good. I've got a good feeling about all this. I think you're right where you need to be, even if I was, kind of awful about getting you here. Hey, I gotta get back to the office. Have a good lunch, okay? I feel the distant rumble of a frozen box of pizza bagels taunting me from the recently repaired employee break room. Yeah, okay, and you have a good rest of the hours of your day, yeah? You bet. I'm okay with this. Everything is fine. Right? Right. What I need now is a distraction, and frozen pizza bagels are most certainly not it. My pocket money is really slim, but I think I need to step out for some fresh air and treat myself to a better lunch than that. And hey, maybe some company too. Nice and distracting. Talking to someone about anything other than this. Let's see, who's available? Percy, Queen Bee, Teo. Let's ask Ashley. It's not often that both floor attendants can go on break at the same time. I should take advantage of that and see if Ashley wants to grab some chow. On the plus side, I will not be lunching with Pinky the Flumpex Flamingo. She's in her civvies today. That shirt is adorable. Although she is wearing a Pinky belt buckle.
Oh, hi!
Hey, what's up? Kitchen on fire again? Not yet, and to avoid that happening again, I suggest having lunch somewhere else. You know, I was just about to suggest that. Both not burning down the kitchen and going out for a bite. Sounds great. Maybe taking a breather and stepping outside these walls will help me take my mind off everything that has happened this morning. And Ashley always has a story to get lost in. Maybe I could get some pointers. Oh hey, I know where we could go. You haven't been to the whole story yet, have you? No, not yet. I've been existing off all these pizza bagels. I do love me some pizza bagels, especially the sausage ones. Wonder how they make all those teeny little sausages fit on those bite-sized morsels. Like, is it on a conveyor belt with lots of sharp blades? Chopping down at insane speeds? You wouldn't want to be caught under that, no way. Focus, Ashley. Whole story? Oh yeah, it's an adorable little bookstore that also sells coffee and donuts. Get it? Get it? Whole story? Wah. Not a fan of puns, I take it. Nevertheless, I got a hankering for some mini donuts. Let's go! Despite coming to this little strip mall for 2 weeks, I haven't actually visited our neighbors. Hey, I'm smiling. Also a loading ready run joke. Mostly I did whatever needed doing. Took orders from Gavin, lent a hand to Ashley and Naomi, things like that. Whatever the job happened to call for. No more, no less. I couldn't say I've been a part of any community outside the immediate circle of my coworkers, whereas the others visited the whole story frequently. Ashley leads the way into a shop that smells strangely of dusty old books and sugary sweetness. I don't think I've ever been in a little independent bookstore. Or a bookstore at all, for that matter. It's 20XX. Who buys books in brick-and-mortar stores anymore? Raise his hand. But despite the subdued atmosphere compared to the arcade, there are customers present and accounted for. Sipping coffee, reading old tomes, and yes, munching donuts. Ashley secures a tiny table for us before directing me to the bar. Hang on. What the heck is up with this menu? It's organized by the Dewey Decimal System? I'll have the Judy Bloom. It's a bunch of mini donuts. And hey, my treat, okay? I mumble out a thanks, trying not to make a big deal of it. Cash is tight, and boutique cafe pastries wouldn't help my situation much. A pair of middle-aged guys wait to take my order. Hey, I'd like, Yeah, surprise me. Hey, what's good? What's your favorite order for the menu?
One Terry Pratchett coming up, a jam pastry with Clatchy and coffee.
The second fellow puts together my order and also drops a small paperback book out of the tray featuring a many-legged wooden travel trunk on the cover. Huh. A literary lunch.
With alliteration, apparently.
Say, you work at the Funplex, don't you?
Right, we've seen you walk past our doors every morning and evening.
Like clockwork, tick-tock.
Right, sorry, I should have introduced myself. Floor attendant Hulyen Blue at your service. I'm your inside gal for tokens and tickets.
Oh, we are lousy at video games.
Totally lousy.
But Francine's just a peach, isn't she?
Sweetest dame you'll ever meet.
Regardless, welcome to The Whole Story. I'm Ben.
I'm Matt.
No relation to the actors.
Although they're cuties, and so are we.
Oh, stop.
Stop being cute? Never.
Apparently the sugar is available in forms other than round and holy.
Anyway, don't let us stop you from having fun on your little date.
Wouldn't dream of it.
It's not a date.
Just friends, then? Friendly friends on a play date?
Maybe the real date was the friends we made along the way.
I'd say the real friends were the friends we made along the way.
What if the way was also the real friends who were the real friends we made along the way?
Okay, now you're just being silly.
And how?
Okay. Love you too. These two are nerds and I love them. Yes. This one's also voiced by Graham Stark of Loading Ready Run, hence why Scott was saying hello to Graham. This one's Jacob Burgess.
Anyway.
He did the voice direction for this game.
Next order, please.
The pair waves the next customer in as I return to Ashley's table with our orders on a nicely decorated wooden tray.
Oh, wow!
These mini donuts are just so cute. Ashley holds up a tiny donut in her hands, like a chipmunk holding an acorn. She looks down at the tiny pastry and her eyes sparkle before she tastes a bite. Closing her eyes, the corners of her mouth curl into a wide smile. It's so yummy. I could eat these all day. I wish I could have Ashley's enthusiasm about eating food. Same old pizza bagels day after day is dulling out my palate. Ashley's face changes from pure delight to concern. Hey, is everything okay? You aren't your normal self today. You seem a little off. It's been an interesting morning. Kinda hard to wrap my head around everything. Hey, I know how those days go. Even I feel lost and confused sometimes. There are days when it's especially rough. Feel the same way, huh? You too, huh? Me too, huh? Guess it happens to the best of us.
I know. I know it seems totally unlike me, but honestly, deep down I'm scared. I feel like I don't really know who I am. Every time I look at myself in the mirror, I don't know who this person is who is staring back at me. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I know I am Ashley Wolf, but that's all. What makes up Ashley Wolf? Who am I? Who am I really? That's what I'm searching for.
That took an unusually serious tone compared to Ashley's usual chipper attitude. And I can't say I entirely get what she means about not knowing who she is. Well, no, I kind of get it, considering I don't know what I want from life. What do you want and who you are often linked ideas, right? But Ashley looks so forlorn. I can't just sit by and say nothing. I won't let this silence drown her out. Is that why you cosplay? I wonder if Ashley uses cosplay as a way to help explain her world, to discover things she couldn't obtain without it. Cosplay helps you find what you're looking for, right? Ashley looks shocked and slightly embarrassed. Whoa! How'd you guess? Are you psychic? You have to tell me if you're psychic. Those are the psychic rules. No, it just makes sense, I guess. We all have our masks, do we not? Yeah, we do. When I reflect on my life, I really do love cosplay, and I love the rush it brings. I get to be whoever I want, whatever I want. I can be a starship captain, an elf, a giant pink flamingo mascot even. I don't have to worry about Ashley, I can focus on being someone else. I feel awkward in my own skin. When I'm in costume, I feel like I'm at my fullest potential. I feel comfortable. But I think cosplay has really helped me understand some things about myself that I couldn't see before I started doing this. I just want to be able to love the person I am when I find them. Knowing you, I think you'll do just fine there. If you can smile for kitties through a pink flamingo mask, you can smile for yourself. I hope so. I really do. Ashley looks off again longingly for a second before snapping back to attention. Oh my, I just talked your ear right off.
Beep, beep.
Lunchtime is over. Right on time. Hey, thanks for listening. I mean it. And you know, if you ever want to talk about your problems, I'm here. I mean, I'm here at the Funplex, yeah. But like, I'm here for you too. That's what friends are for. And I totally know I might be overstepping my bounds here, but I feel like lately you're just going through the motions at the Funplex. Huh? No, things are great with me in the Funplex. You punch in and punch out right on time, sure. From what I've seen, you have so much potential. The flame burns deep inside, you just gotta dig down and bring out that light, you know? You'll do great things, I just know it. And I've totally delayed you long enough. We should get back to Gavin before he notices we're gone. Time for the afternoon shift. It's usually when things heat up after the quieter mornings. More kids coming in after school, more pro gamers rolling in with crews. I'm headed back to my desk, ready to take care of what needs taken care of when I'm intercepted en route. Oh, you're good. You're both back. Good. I was hoping to catch you before we left. Ooh, what's up? Hamza's up.
Okay.
He is? Huh. Okay. Ashley, I'll bring the van around shortly. Hulyen, you'll be flying solo today. Hang on. What's happening exactly? Who's Hamza? Hamza's a game finder and auctioneer, and gives next to no notice of when a new block of games will be going under the gavel, so we need to move. Ashley, Naomi, Francine, and I will be going to his auction for the rest of the afternoon while you run the Funplex. My first instinct is to nod and go along with it. Gavin's the law around these parts. But Ashley's words are still dangling away in my mind. Doing what needs doing is great and all, but maybe I need to step up a bit more. Plus, the idea of being trapped in here during our heaviest hours with no support was hardly appealing. Hey, what gives? I want in too. Let me tag along. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What if I want to come along and see this auction myself? Come on, I'm never going to learn the business if I don't take a bigger role. You're a floor attendant. Your place is on the floor.
Aww.
Well, that's patently unfair. I'm a floor attendant too, and you're dragging me along. I feel like such a third wheel at these auctions anyway. Let Hulyen be the third wheel and let me handle the floor. I'll be the finest third wheel you've ever met. Trust me. I want to do more than I've been doing. Different things. New things. Show some initiative, like... Suppose it wouldn't change much to bring Hulyen instead. But no costume time today, Ashley. I need non-plush fingers on duty in case of ticket jams. Pinky can stay in storage for the afternoon. I'm just happy to be helping folks out one way or another. I need to go get the van. Wait out front, please. We'll probably be closed by the time you get back, so I'll see you in the morning. Floor attendant Ashley away! Leaving me waiting outside with my 2 traveling companions. Not much time to chat, however, as Gavin pulls his van and a rental trailer around. Oh my, how exciting. I rarely go on adventures these days. It's just a quick trip, ma'am. Any trip is an adventure if you make it one. Shall we? 4 of us pile in, and it's off to the highway. Gavin, consulting a driving map on his phone, leads us out of the city via a series of weird turns and back roads. Trust me, this will save time in the long run. Where's Hamza set up this time? On site at some abandoned estate just outside town. It's about to be torn down, but they found a trove of arcade games in the basement.
Woohoo!
So exciting! I love arcade raids. Arcade auctions. Raids. Auctions. You guys got an arcade English dictionary I could borrow? Francine, without looking up from her knitting, answers. A raid is when a bunch of collectors get together and rescue games before they can be junked by their original owner. An auction is when someone sells off their arcade games one at a time to a crowd of active bidders. So, which is this, a raid or an auction? It's both, dearie. Hamza, that sweet boy, buys up private collections before they can be thrown away. He rescues them from that terrible fate and then auctions off his finds. Sort of. Okay, now I'm fuzzy on the sort of part. I'm the newbie here, remember? Well, okay. So Hamza obviously auctions off his games for cash money. But he's a very whimsical kind of guy. Once I saw him trade off a vintage burger time in exchange for someone's super secret chili recipe passed down through generations of family. In other words, he's just on the edge of being a loon. It'd be a lot simpler if it were just a raid. We pay up front, we declare what games we want, and cart them away. Instead, he ambushes us with these impromptu auctions and makes us come down there to entertain his whims.
Wonderful.
I think it's sweet. He wants to make sure the games, go to good homes to people who really want them, even if they can't pay. And really, we should be honored we got an invitation. He's trying to cut out the big franchise arcades like Deco's Palace and help the little guys. Like us. It's inefficient and relies entirely on keeping Hamza's good side. Huh. How did you meet this Hamza guy anyway? So, he only invites a select handpicked group to his auctions. How'd you end up being in that select handpicked group? That would be my doing, dearie. He likes to visit the local arcades whenever he's in town, and I'd like to get to know everybody who walks into our doors. I approached him. I suppose we achieved a certain rapport, considering we've had 3 invitations so far. Got some rather lovely games too, including Moopy. We need to temper our expectations a little, I suspect.
I think not.
We don't have room to add many more games, especially relics like Hamza usually deals in. What about the off-site storage unit? We can just rotate games in and out more often. Nearly full to bursting, and not cheap for us to rent on a monthly basis. I'm not saying we have to go home empty-handed. Certainly a few holes in our roster we can fill, should we find an excellent deal and beat the other bidders. But consider this, above anything else, is a way to maintain relations with Hamza, even if we don't end up bidding.
Aww.
Now, Naomi. Gavin knows the numbers. I'm in favor of making our little funplex more and more fun. But floor space is finite.
Hydrate, which I was doing at the moment anyway, so I will double hydrate. Having a tasty herbal raspberry
And
blackberry
Gavin,
with some honey.
Remember, if we find some darling little game Naomi would lavish adoration upon, we can always retire an older game. Life, my young friends, is a series of trade-offs.
Yes, it is very tasty. I like this tea. Well, isn't it better to, not just settle and compromise all the time?
Well now, there are trade-offs, and there are trade-offs. It's silly to say that you should never compromise, as silly as it is to say you should always compromise. It's what you compromise that defines who you are. You're all so young yet. You've time to make mistakes in learning what trade you need to make.
Unless you don't make rent on your apartment, or your stomach's growling. Iris and Juniper have pushed me to stop settling for less out of life, to stand up for myself and my happiness. And I've done just that without regret. So, everything should be fine now, right? Right? New default topic diversion. The weather! Well, at least it's a nice day for an outing, right? Oh, come on! Wonderful. Glad I packed plastic bags to wrap cabinets in, just in case. That's our Gavin, always thinking ahead. Trying to protect your investments, huh? From Hamza's invitation, it seems like this arcade was largely abandoned and left to rot. I'd rather not add water damage to the ailments the games are already suffering. It's so sad when we come across a wonderful game that's just ruined beyond repair. Most collectors show their collections a lot of love, but others just don't care. You find old games in barns, exposed to the elements, and falling apart. I suppose this is one thing we can easily agree on. It's important to take care of your games. For their resale value, you mean? Broken game's no fun to play with, and it's a shame to see a classic in terrible condition. Consider pinball. Pinball games are very prone to breakdowns, particularly older ones. To experience them in their glory, you need to show them care. Even beyond a busting game earning no quarters, it feels like a waste to allow an enjoyable game to lie fallow, a waste of true potential. Huh. Good point. Glad to see those two getting along better, even if Naomi keeps preemptively attacking him along the way there. With the rain pounding down on the van roof, conversation gets a bit difficult. Gradually, everyone resumes fiddling about with their phones, knitting, or driving, leaving me to wonder, exactly where is this auction and/or raid happening anyway? We've been driving for some time, leaving the city far behind. What would a massive trove of arcade games be doing this far out into the sticks? Maybe it's some closed-down roller rink, or an old bowling alley, or maybe it's a creepy old house that's likely haunted by exactly 87,194 ghosts. Ah, the classic blue luck in play. So majestically awful. Gavin pulls up alongside any number of other vans and trucks. We're here a little late, it seems. Good grief, is this really the auction site? Creepy. Definitely creepy. At least an 8 on the creepometer. An old home has character, I feel. Let's not judge it by the exterior, shall we? With all speed, the group hurries inside to get away from the weather. A large group has already gathered in the foyer of the crumbling estate, but one rushes forward to greet us in a blur, as the others pay little mind.
Greetings, friends. Hamza welcomes our friends from the Funplex. Welcome, welcome. Gavin, stalwart as ever. Naomi, love what you've done with your hair. Miss Francine, a beauty surpassed only by your wisdom.
Oh, fresh.
And a new player, it seems. Who might you be?
Hamza is a character. Hulyen Blue.
I see. Greetings to you and yours. I am known as Hamza, seeker of antiquity, finder of things lost, player of games. And welcome to, well, not my home, but a place where Hamza shall provide hospitality regardless.
Seekers of Antiquity is 1980X and is antique. I was unaware Reagan-era amusement machines were antiques on par with the Turin Shroud. You have fire indeed, but rest assured many a holy grail may lurk in the arcade below. You may even find your own relic of a holy nature by eve's end. Alas, I've not a moment to enjoy your fine company, Hulyen Blue. Perhaps later, but for now, it is time! Clapping twice for attention, Hamza rallies the small crowd in the room to begin proceedings. Friends, companions, longtime allies of the noble art of the arcade, welcome! Welcome to Donnawood. Its story begins nearly 30 years ago when legendary pop musician Donna Michaels, singer of such hits as Thrilling and Mama Don't Mope, did a stately pleasure dome decree. Here, the reclusive idol crafted a private amusement park, a petting zoo, and an arcade. Alas, she could only enjoy this paradise for a short 10 years before her tragic death. Needless to say, the estate has fallen on hard times ever since. In this year, it shall be torn down to make room for condominiums. But not before we have our say.
Friends, those games that Donna Michaels cherished still lurk one floor below, ready to be rescued from such a terrible fate. It is our moral imperative to do so. I have paid the estate owners a princely sum for the entire lot. Now, Hamza parcels them out to you. By all means, browse the collection. See which pieces sing out to you. On the far table, you shall find refreshments, grapes, sparkling wine, and delicacies from my travels. Mingle, cavort, and we shall begin the auction in 1 hour's time.
Indeed, a lavishly arranged table that probably costs more than any single arcade game to put together is descended upon by invitees soon after. I feel like I'm attending some ancient Roman celebration of debauchery and gluttony. Gluttony, not an arcade raid. Or an arcade auction. Or whatever. Donna Michaels, I knew it! I should have recognized Donnawood when we pulled in, but it was raining too hard. Who? You've never heard of Donna Michaels? She was the hottest musical act of 1980X. Naomi, I was born in 1990X. Oh, I'm older than the main character. I'm totally plugging my phone into the van stereo so we can blast Girls Just Want to Play Games all the way home. But first, I'm gonna go check out the cabinets in our arcade. I'm not really into mingling. Later! She dashes off with all speed, heading for the stairs leading below. Suppose I could go network a bit. Hamza's events always draw an interesting crowd of rival arcade owners. Heading for the foodstuffs, Gavin arranges himself a plate so he has an excuse to hang around and eavesdrop on the other collectors. Leaving me to, do stuff? Now I see why Ashley was bored at the events. Gavin schmoozes, Naomi analyzes finds, and Francine's already napping in a chair. I've got nothing to do. Well, when in doubt, find someone who knows what they're doing and stick to them like glue. We're gonna go look at the games. I don't want to schmooze. I'm not really interested in the arcade version of Game of Thrones going on up here. Gavin can handle these guys. Me? I want to see this legendary arcade Hamza was talking up, so I head downstairs to see Naomi. Whoa. Is this a private collection or a full-fledged arcade? I was expecting a handful of games and a pool table or something, but this is easily 3 times larger than the Funplex itself. Even coated in dust and disrepair, it's awe-inspiring. And it's also hard to find anyone in this maze of tightly packed games. Invitees are browsing the available stock to decide what's worth bidding on, making it crowded as well. But eventually, I locate Naomi, practically cuddling a narrow-looking TMNT machine. Oh! Look, a 2-player variant of TMNT! These were only released in the Oceania region. Such a rare find. Wait, wasn't that game originally 4-player? Why would anyone want a version with only 2 joysticks? Well, because... I mean, it's rare, it's a find. And it's less fun. Not the point. Anyway, it's hard to find one of these 2-player or 4-player. I'd love to have it for the arcade. I'd love to have that, and this one, and... Oh, if only I could take these all home with me. I mean, some have water damage, others likely have busted CRTs and controls. They all need work, but... I recall the game she was working on when I first met her. Extensive repairs needed just to make it playable. So, not only would you have to bid and win the game, but you'd have hours of work and plenty of spare parts to purchase ahead of you? I know. Isn't it great? Okay, is there a nice way to say this? I know you love restoring these games. You really love bringing a broken old game back to working order, huh?
Yeah!
Absolutely, these games deserve to shine as they once did ages ago. If I can turn back the clock and let them be what they truly can be, let people play them as they were in their prime, well, there's no greater feeling. And you enjoyed the challenge of restoration, too. Repairing hardware, replacing damaged art, the problem-solving of broken monitors. You know me so well. Exactly. And all of that is admirable. I really love how happy these projects make you. But there's a flip side. How much time does it take to restore a game? I'd say if it's in good shape, maybe a few hours. If it's really a wreck and needs extra love, a few days. Maybe weeks if parts are in back order. Okay, now think of the games we currently have and how many still need work or break down frequently. Can you take on a bunch of new projects? Well, I could make the time. Work late, right? Even a girl with bottomless energy has her limits. Naomi sighs, frustration building.
It's not fair. I know. I mean, I'm not dense. I know there's only so much we can realistically do. So many projects I can actually take on. But I wish I could do more. I wish we could do more. The Funplex has never really been a success. Even before I came on board, it was always struggling to stay afloat. I joined it because so few arcades still have the games I love. But I can't turn our situation around, can I? No matter how hard I try. This was my first job. Part of me is hoping it'll be my last job, too. That I can happily spend all my days tinkering with these wonderful games. Every kid says they want to be a fireman or an astronaut or a robot cop or something, but nobody actually ends up doing that.
I'm gonna be a robot cop someday, obviously.
Except me. I wanted to fix up arcade games, and that's what I'm doing. It's all I ever wanted to do. So when I see all these old, broken games, I just want to show them the love I can give. I could be happy working on them for the rest of my life.
Wow, that's dedication. And really, you went straight from school to an arcade job? I mean, I've meandered from job to job, never really sure what I wanted. That's normal, right?
Yeah!
Oh, definitely. I'm the oddball here. It's funny, I followed my heart and found just what I wanted, what I needed. And now, well, now I'm scared someday it'll all come to an end. The Funplex will close.
And if the Funplex goes under, I really don't know what I'm gonna do. All I ever wanted was to work in an arcade. And I'm literally living my dream.
Okay, now I feel bad for bringing down her day. Hey, look, you never know, right? Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll find a game down here that brings in thundering herds of players. Right! It's a slim hope, and we both know it, but Naomi clings to it immediately, eagerly. My low bank balance and grumbling stomach mean I need to cling to that hope as well. I made my choice, now I need to make that choice work. I just need to find the right game. Something nobody's played in a long time. Something that'll tug at the nostalgia strings. It's difficult finding the right balance, especially in the year 20XX. A lot of these games are on life support, borrowed time. But they can be repaired, right? Well, yeah, for now. But CRTs, the monitors that powered these old games before LCDs and now 3D flat started replacing them, they're in short supply. Nobody makes them anymore. I mean, who buys a tube-based TV anymore? Nobody. It's all high definition and that weird 3D projection tech, which looks awful. Nobody appreciates a good CRT anymore. Aren't high-def displays way cheaper, though? I've seen some old games running them in the other arcades. They're wrong, is what they are. These games weren't designed for pixel-perfect flat panels. They're designed for fuzzy tubes. Picture looks weird on LCD. Even 2 weeks in, I'm still fuzzy myself on a lot of this stuff. I grew up on the internet age, I'm silicon literate, I got opinions. Buy some cheap common games, gut 'em. So it's a problem of having spare parts on hand long term. Short of building our own factory for cranking out TV tubes, there's a temporary fix. Buy some cheap common games and use them as organ donors. This is an actual practice, especially since a lot of the JAMA harnesses and boards are compatible. So you can buy something no one cares about and gut it and Frankenstein it into something you're trying to actually put together.
Ugh.
And ruin a classic. Cheap and common Naomi, not some rare find, but one that's still readily available. We can even keep the cabinet itself so it can be restored later if need be. Point is, mixing and matching the guts will keep more fragile games afloat.
Makes sense.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, that does make sense. And I bet I could sell Gavin on that idea too. We'd need more rental storage, but it'd mean less ordering parts and less downtime. Okay, I'll see if there's anything down here nobody would want and nobody would need.
Thank you.
You know, I'm glad you're with us at the Funplex. Whether you take my side or Gavin's side, it's just nice to have someone who cares about games around. Ashley's fun, but she's way more into cosplay than gaming. But it's kind of odd, you know? What? Feeling like I'm not alone. Now that sounds dramatic, but I'm so used to toiling away in my little workshop with Ashley and Gavin not really caring about the things I love. They're kind to me enough to me, and friendly. Well, Ashley is. But ever since you showed up, I feel like there's someone with me. It's odd. I'm not complaining, though. I guess it just takes getting used to after years of feeling perfectly content to be alone. Away from strangers, crowds. I mean, it's not really my thing. I don't like to network like Gavin does or socialize like Ashley does. And now I'm making things weird, so I'm gonna stop there. Besides, I'm just about done taking inventory down here. How about you and I? Suddenly shouting and stomping of feet from the floor above. What the? Sounds like there's a fight or something going on up there. I think we better go see what's what. Quickly, we hurry upstairs. What's going on? I heard shouting. Hamza has ejected a representative of the dark carnival known as Deco's Palace from our midst, and not too soon enough in Hamza's opinion. Oh, okay. I guess everything's fine then. Excuse me, I'm gonna go get my work apron on since we're gonna be moving games soon. Naomi, if you don't mind, after you change, we should coordinate our wish list. I want to get that settled before the auction begins. No, don't leave me alone with the Bacchanalian Orgy Master. Excellent. Now let us resume the social amusements and jocularities. Hulyen Blue, we will speak, yes? Hamza leads me off away from the chattering crowd. Presumably not to eat me, or yell at me, or anything like that.
I make it a point to get to know all who attend my gatherings. Clearly, I have been remiss, as I allowed one who works with the hated Deco Nami to enter. Hamza would like to know you better, my friend. Not that Hamza assumes you to be a spy, of course. It is simply a matter of what is proper and right.
I'm just a floor attendant for the Funplex. Not much else to say.
Come now. Surely there's more to you than that. Share with Hamza.
Creeping me out, dude.
Consider me an impartial third party. Surely there are matters that occupy your mind which would be inappropriate to air to your business partners?
You're creepy, dude. Okay, this guy is clearly on a fishing expedition for dirt. Considering the high court of arcade royalty I'm supping with, maybe best not to give him anything. But I also don't want to make relations difficult for the Funplex if this guy is really a leading supplier of cheap arcade games. Honestly, I've had a long run of bad luck. I won't bore you with the whole story, but the TLDR is that my family's had a curse of foul luck for quite a few years. Moving from city to city, job to job. After I left home, I couldn't find stable work. Not until the Funplex, I guess. I'm determined to make this work, but I'll admit, I'm in a vulnerable position. It's not exactly a jet-setting executive role.
Hamza agrees.
Ah, yes, I see the dilemma you face. I have seen it many times before, in fact, including firsthand. Yes, I have known hardship. We all have, in the course of events. You are not alone in that condition.
Hamza began as a mere urban explorer and hunter of rare objects for a wealthy buyer in Dubai. You see, many debts pursued me. And in return for assistance in paying them, I stocked the arcade of his dreams. In time, my patron released me entirely, from the woes of debt. They were difficult years, productive years to be certain, and throughout them, Hamza learned how to use the mystique of being Hamza to better achieve his goals. Now I stand before you with power, and with hard-earned respect for that power. I leverage it to ensure that those who respect games as I do can enjoy them, even if they lack coin. But yes, I have known hardship. We all have in the course of events. You are not alone in that condition, my friend.
Okay, so how do I get out of that condition? Do I need to indebt myself to a wealthy prince or something too?
No. You will need the will to dream and the will to work. The will to make the trade-offs that will bring you closer to your ambitions.
Francine was mentioning something about that earlier. Wisdom and beauty, that is Francine. I'm trying not to make trade-offs though, not to settle. My parents, they gave up on so much just to barely scrape by. Ah, that is the puzzle, is it not? What to trade? Allow me to regale you with a story. Hamza makes a sweeping gesture to the beautiful ruin of the Donnawood mansion and to an oil painting hanging on the wall. At one time, Donna Michaels was a star on the rise. She had all she could ever desire and indulged in her desires all day long. But so indulgent was she that she failed to maintain the work that brought her there. After her second album didn't meet expectations, she lost interest. For years, she lurked at these walls as a recluse, playing games for hours and hours. Rumor has it she was found dead within her beloved arcade, hand still wrapped around a glowing joystick. She starved to death, lost in a game. I'd say that's ridiculous, but I've seen Percy play for hours and hours at a time. And now her lost and aimless spirit haunts this very place. Adrift as a ghost in the machine. Too spoopy for me, man. Too spoopy indeed, and obviously a grim fairy tale rather than reality, but I feel there is an important truth buried in the myth. I ask you, was Donna's life spiritually satisfying? She didn't need to make any more albums. She wanted for nothing and had everything. You could even say she died doing what she loved, playing games. Okay, but she still died. No getting around that.
Hamza agrees.
So many years thrown away, refusing the world around her in favor of a dream. A dream is a lovely thing, but you must balance a dream in one hand and the world in the other, at all times. Naomi, she clings to her dream. Gavin, he clings to the world. Neither of them are truly happy as a result. And what of you? Do you seek to be truly happy? Well, duh, what else was I going to answer except yes? But Hamza pressed a finger to my lips to silence me. Hold that thought. The auction is about to begin. Hamza claps twice, calling the room to attention.
Greetings, friends.
Let us proceed to the arcade below. We have many games to bid on, all of which must be out the door by morning. As always, I will accept alternate bids, but test not the patience of Hamza if your bid is not a serious offer. The hours grow short. Any titles which find no takers will go to my own collection. But my hope is to find a happy home for every machine, one which will love and respect these games. He motions for me in particular to follow as the group files downstairs. This way, this way. A bunch of folding chairs have been set up in front of a large HD TV. One of Hamza's assistants loads up a photo slideshow of the games on offer as the group settles in. Hey, shouldn't Francine be here for this? It's technically her money. She trusts the two of us to make the right decisions on purchasing games. Plus, I'd hate to interrupt her nap. Or her knitting. Or both. I swear she can knit in her sleep. Oh, I'm just too nervous. I think I'm gonna go browse the games again to see if there are any I missed. It's so dark down here, I could swear I didn't see them all. What about you? Want to watch the auction or go help search the arcade? I'm fine either way. Ultimately, you're only here to help us lug our purchases out the door, so do whatever you like. Thanks, I think. Hope you let me wave the paddle around. Yeah, I want to see what's up there. Auctioneering sounds fun. Do I get to wave our bidding paddle around? Hamza's auctions are usually a shout-out-loud affair rather than discreetly signaling, but I admire your enthusiasm. I settle in next to Gavin on one of the rickety old folding chairs. Not quite as posh as the banquet spread above, but hey, it's business time, not indulgence time.
Naomi sent me a list of games she wants me to bid on. We argued it a bit, and I managed to bring her down to 3 must-haves, and the rest would-be-nices. Needless to say, if the would-be-nices start bidding up, I won't be bothered.
Do we have the storage space for the would-be-nices?
Well, technically, yes.
What about the cash?
Like I said, only if they don't get driven through the roof.
Then maybe keep an open mind, right? Don't forget to see the forest for the trees while looking at the bigger picture or something.
Right. As Francine says, I know. But there are certain hard realities in play.
It has begun!
I love that it's in bold. I half expect mid-90s techno to start blasting as the slideshow opens, but nope, just pretty photos of old games.
Behold!
Look at these beautiful games. They could be yours, all yours. But before we dive in, I'd like a moment of recognition for Donna Michaels, whose spirit inhabits these halls. We who are about to rescue her games do so out of respect for her and her passions. May her soul be at peace with her loved arcade in good hands. But he didn't believe in that tall tale. Or is he just being theatrical because that is the way of Hamza? Now then, shall we commence the auction, friends? I settle in and wait for Gavin to take an interest in the games on bid. Our next item up for bid? Oh hey, I recognize this. It's a joust, just like the one I moved out to the floor 2 weeks ago. Gavin frowns at his tablet, confused. Why is this on Naomi's must-have list? We already own one of these. The bidding opens at a pittance, a mere $50. Gavin shakes his head, ready to let it slide by. 2 units side by side would make a good tournament. Hang on, it's a popular enough game, right? It's not a dog, but it's hardly a top earner. Maybe she's thinking we should run a tournament with them, 2 players going head-to-head competing for score? I usually avoid hosting games like that at the arcade. Or events like that at the arcade. More trouble than they're worth.
Doubtful.
Let's see where the bidding goes. 100. I bid 250. I'll have it for 400. $1,000 to complete my Midway collection. Nope. Not worth it. Before I can object, it's over.
Sold!
May your collection be perfected by this piece. Seems once he hears a bid he likes, it's all over. No going once, going twice. Our next item for auction is this rather unique piece. And egads is that one ugly football game. Looks like the side art stickers weren't even put on straight. The white paint is totally uneven. The marquee's been broken. The monitor has a big ol' as-is note. The joysticks are 4 different clashing colors, and... Do I hear 50? 40? Wait. I nudge Gavin, whispering. Put a bid on it.
Pardon?
Why, it's positively grotesque. I recognize the shape and the joystick colors. That's not really a football game, it's a TMNT. Naomi told me earlier that we needed one of those. I thought they only had the crappy 2-player one, but that's definitely a TMNT at heart. Aha, it's a cheaply done conversion. No doubt some fool thought he'd get more profits off a sports game and lazily chopped it up. It'd need restoration work, granted, but... Slowly he stands up.
I suppose.
I suppose I'd be willing to take it for 40. Maybe we can salvage the monitor. Good. All games deserve a home, even the ugly ducklings. Are there any other bids? No? Not a 1? Very well.
Sold!
Sold to Gavin Cooper of the Funplex. Thank you. After Gavin sits down, I swear I spotted Hamza wink at me. Does he know he just conned him? And is he okay with that?
Impressive.
You know, you're more knowledgeable about old arcade games than I thought you'd be. My parents took me to arcades all the time back when I was a kid. I had a few favorites, like TMNT, Q*bert, and those were good times. Better times.
Very well.
Well, I suppose you can really relive those good times a little once Naomi restores that game. During your breaks and after work, please. Yes, sir. I realize my demeanor is one of seriousness, but it's not like I'm anti-fun. I enjoy a pinball game or two, for that matter. I thought it was more for the challenge, though. Order to chaos, developing mastery over the game, and so on. Which is fun for me. Fun is a highly variable concept from person to person. For example, undoubtedly Naomi is going to have considerable fun restoring that TMNT back to its former glory precisely because it is so mutilated. The Funplex provides fun in any form the visitor requires. That's my endgame, the goal I reach for. The tricky part, I found, is balancing conflicting fun, ensuring as many dreams are realized as possible despite reality being rather harsh about it all. We need to watch our budget today if we're going to optimize that fun. Do you understand? I guess. Being optimal is fun for you. I suppose it is at that.
Revel in the splendor.
Next, a rare find indeed, what would surely be the jewel of any collector's treasure trove, provided they are discerning collectors who appreciate such splendors. And the next game is a black and white driving game from 1970X. I give you Death Race, inspired by the movie of the same name and decorated with skulls that sparked controversy nationwide.
Seriously?
That relic is seriously on Naomi's must-haves list? Absolutely not. Not only is an ancient artifact of a bygone era, I'd rather not have angry parents mad that little Timmy ran people over in a video game. They're gremlins, not humans. Very, very blurry little white blobs of gremlins. Doesn't matter, it won't earn, and earning is critical for a small arcade such as ours. So let's make the Funplex a museum of amusements. Hey, you always complain about how many old games we have. Let's lean into that and open a museum of arcade excellence. We charge admission instead of tokens. Then earnings are relevant. I'll make little placards and stuff. You are kidding, right? Well, I was at first, but that's actually sounding like a cool idea. I'm not upending our entire business model because Naomi wants a kitschy relic of the 70Xs. Gadzooks! What a find! I bid $200. 300. No, 500. 5. We have 5. Do we have any numbers above that? No?
Sold!
Yeehaw! This is for the best. Trust me. And that's everything on our list. Well, the must-haves and a few of the would-be-nices. Now sit back and wait while Hamza grinds his way through the rest of the stock. We can't start moving games out until the auction's complete. Naomi's not replying to text. Can you go find her? I'm sure she's around here somewhere. Let her know what we bought. Sure thing. Leaving the excitable auction master and his compatriots behind, I start wandering around the maze-like arcade of Donna Wood's private collection. Naomi? Naomi, where the heck are you? Working quiet back here. Where could Naomi be? It's not like it's an infinite plane of games. There's only so many places she could hide. As I walk by a game, the screen lights up. I freeze in my tracks as my hand accidentally brushes past the glowing joystick. It seems familiar. Like something from a story I heard once. Polybius! There's an urban legend of Polybius that, some people remember having seen it in arcades for like a week and then it was gone, and it was some sort of government conspiracy testing sort of thing. I don't remember the details, but it was government testing something, and people would play it and feel weird after, and then it was gone, and there's no official record of it. It's a weird urban legend thing. Hamza's tall tale. He said Donna Michaels supposedly died while playing one of these games, a game with a glowing joystick. I should walk away. I should go. I have official Funplex duties. I've been very good about not gaming when I should be working. Someone's already inserted a quarter. Game is ready to play. One game couldn't hurt, right? Just one game. I want to play the game. Well, given my options, let's play the game. My hands wrap around the stick as my eyes drink in the colored lights swirling on the screen. Play the game. Play the game. Play the game forever. Polybius. Game start. This isn't real. It can't be real. I'm in there. That's me. It's just a game. Just a game I have to play forever. None of this is real. Level 1, the Harpy. Round start. There you are. I've been worried sick. What are you doing out here touching strange joysticks, meeting strange people, getting into trouble? You need to stay safe. Trust me. Believe in me. I can help you find your dreams. All you have to do is everything I tell you to do. You depend on me. You need me. You'll always depend on me, always need me. I'll see to it by making sure I control everything in your life, for your own good. Harpy used overprotective. It's super effective. That hurt. It really hurt. I'll hide the truth from you. I'll keep you away from every chance you have to better yourself. I won't let you leave me. You'll always need me. It's not real. It's not real. Harpy used yandere. It's super terrifying. Ow! Juniper, stop it, please. You agreed I was right to hide that job opportunity at my office from you. I was right. Everything is fine. You'll never doubt me again, right? And if you do, I'll beat you until you understand. The game. I have to win the game. I get this feeling that if I don't win, I'll never get out of here. Something's wrong. I know Juniper's not a control freak. This isn't like her. Current health, 100%. Action? Refuse to believe. This is ridiculous. This isn't real, and this isn't you, Juniper. I know how much of a bastard I am for saying this, but you're not competent enough to be a calculating mastermind trying to keep me dangling from your leash. You're just too open, too honest, and too clumsy to pull off something like that. I know you. I've always known you. And I know you're sincerely trying to help me, even when you mess up. Player used Hearth's truth. It's super honest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're right. I just wanted to help you smile again. I made a mistake, but it wasn't to keep you under my thumb or anything like that. Juniper, I'm smiling. It's okay. I'm gonna make this work. It's hard work, but I'm gonna make my dream come true. Good. I'm so glad to hear it. Good old Juniper. Kind heart as always. Okay, I can do this. I can handle this. Level 2, the Shade. Round start. This is all your fault. Nope, I officially can't handle this. The pizza bagels, the debt, the rent payments, all of it piling up, mounting up, because you were a failure and will always be a failure. Family curse. Tears and the sorrow, moving from town to town, barely getting by, settling for what you can get. That's who you are. Forever. It's never going to change. The arcade job? It'll collapse. It's already not enough to turn back the tide. Inevitably, the arcade will close, bought out by a Deco Naomi, and you'll be jobless, homeless, ruined, just like you deserve to be. Shade used depression. It's super unfortunate. You were better off not caring, not feeling anything. Go with the flow. Accept your fate. Fall away knowing you never really had any other option. You can't even mount a defense because I'm you and you know I'm right. You know you're right. We'll never be happy. I can't do this. Current health 100%. Action? Summon a tank. I can't do this. Not by myself. And I won't be ashamed to ask for help. I summon a guardian. Wow, that's a lousy story. Let me try telling a new one. A depressed gal walks into an arcade looking for direction in life. There she finds an eternal optimist in a flamingo costume. Together they beat the evil monster in her heart and lived happily ever after. Canned laughter, freeze frame, roll credits. Guardian used dream. It's super aspirational. But you deserve... It doesn't have to be me. I can decide who I want to be. With everyone standing behind me, I know that if I should fall, someone will catch me. Prepare for final boss. I'm ready. I'm definitely ready to get out of here. Level 3, the Lost Soul. Round start. I don't get it. Not one bit. Also, that's a nice touch with the missing no, profile picture there. Are you Donna Michaels? Girls just want to play games. I wanted to be happy. I made a place where I could be happy forever and walked inside, then locked the door and threw away the key. I got what I wanted. I was happy. I didn't struggle. I didn't try. I didn't do anything more than I had to, just like you. Like me? I'm not a billionaire pop princess. Neither was I. Nobody liked my second album. I wasn't meant to be a star, so I gave up. I was okay taking the money and running. You could do the same. Maintain. Eat the pizza bagels. Do everything that's asked of you. Let Juniper continue to float the rent. You're in a good place. You could stay here. You could let go. Play games forever. Be happy. No ambition, no hope, no need. You'll be fine. You'll be safe. Go with the flow. Go with the flow. Ever since my little lunch date, something's been bugging me. Maybe now I know what that is. Why did I ask to replace Ashley on this trip? I didn't have to. They didn't ask me to. Why did I do it? Because this isn't enough. Being an arcade floor attendant isn't enough. Living hand to mouth isn't enough. Good. Quit your job. Quit and become like me. Lose yourself in the games. Well, I'm not quitting. That's not what I meant at all. I want to fight. Current health 100% action? No, I'm not fighting her. That's not what I meant either. Let's see here. My friends have supported me, I'll support them. So many wonderful people call the Funplex home. They've welcomed me in, made me one of them. Now, it's my turn. I see what Gavin means about protecting dreams, but I'm going to go one step further than he has. The arcade could be so much more. I could lead the way, go above and beyond just doing what I'm told. I could champion the cause of the Funplex. That's my dream. I want to end the family curse to find both success and happiness. And when the Funplex is finally the roaring success it deserves to be, with God as my witness, I shall never eat a pizza bagel again. But the glitchy shade just looks at me with confusion. That sounds hard. Yeah, kinda does, doesn't it? It's a hard path. That's how it's going to be. No, I don't think so. I think you need to stay here with me. You just need to play games forever. That's so much easier, isn't it? To just let go. I can make you see. I can keep you here, drag you down, tear you apart. I eye my health bar nervously. It's still full, but that could change. I don't think Polybius is happy I'm not giving in. I can't risk a fight with Donna. I need to get out of here. Prioritize my survival. Or do I want to try and save Donna too? Defeat Polybius and rescue Donna. This is risky as hell, but nobody deserves to be trapped inside a video game forever. Assuming I'm not just wildly hallucinating based on Hamza's spooky story taking root in my mind and none of this is actually real in the slightest. Donna, I'm not staying, and you don't have to either. Polybius is making you feel this way. It's taking advantage of you, leveraging your depression. I know because I've been mired in depression too. And I know if I can beat it, so can you. Nobody wanted me. They hated the second album. They moved on. Why not play games forever? Why not lock the door behind me? Nobody cared? Nobody cares. Screw 'em. Haters gonna hate. Okay, so they didn't buy the album. They have crappy taste in music. Right now, in 20XX, you're hot again. You're nostalgic. Your fans miss you. Are you gonna let your haters keep you down, or are you gonna win over your fans again? Fans. I always loved performing for them. The rest of the business, I hated it all. I hated the label, the industry, the backstabbing, the drugs, everything. But the concerts, I loved the smiles. But it's all over, isn't it? I died. I'm not even done as Spirit. All that's left is a simulation of me running through the subroutines of Polybius. Error. Thank you. Thank you for trying to save me. There's nothing left to save. I'm not real. You seem real enough to me. Error. No. Escape. Purpose. Code. Execute. You need to go before Polybius completes its data collection of you and disposes of the original like it did to me. I'll hold it back, and your BFF will do the rest. My what?
Digital BFF to the rescue!
I finally figured out how to break you out of this, but, my apologies in advance. Hang on, do I smell something burning? No escape. Erase Donna. Replace with new player. Erase. She's fading, but smiling all the same. It's okay, I'm ready. Get out there and fight for your dreams. Don't give up no matter what. I saved her as best I could. At least she escaped in her own way. So something smells like bacon and I'm in a lot of pain? As my consciousness snaps back, my hand releases the joystick immediately. Also, my pants are on fire. On instinct, I kick off my shoes and yank my jeans down, getting rid of them as fast as possible. Stamping on them, I quickly put out the flames, leaving only smoldering denim and the melted remains of my phone. Iris! Oh no! She sacrificed herself to save my life! Wait, no, she lives in the cloud. She'll be totally fine. Still, I'm out of phone, and possibly have first-degree burns. And am backing the hell away from that demonic video game as fast as possible. Quickly, I rush toward the sounds of people talking to catch up with Gavin. Gavin! Gavin!
Greetings.
Oh, there you are. Did you find Naomi? The auction's nearly over. Wait. Where are your pants? Not important right now. You need to put a bid down on a game called Polybius so we can destroy it before it hurts anyone else. What? Look, it's a long story and we may not have much time, so... If you wanted that game, whatever it is, you should have put it on the wish list. They're bidding on it now. What? Sold. One rare Polybius prototype for an undisclosed sum to the undisclosed bidder. Woman who hadn't said anything all night long nods her head in appreciation, still expressionless. Thank you for your cooperation. Two similarly dressed men in black rise from their chairs, departing with the woman, presumably to go box up the game and put it in Warehouse 13 or something. But, Hamza, wait, you can't. Hamza's hands are tied. All sales final. This one in particular is extremely final. Hamza does not seek to cross federal authorities. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should let this one go too. And honestly, the sooner I forget about it, the better. Especially if I don't want to be renditioned to a black site prison at an undisclosed location. I feel the need to emphasize that you aren't wearing any pants. Yeah, my phone caught on fire while it was in my pocket. See, this is why I don't like smartphones. They're privacy invasive, overly expensive, and occasionally combustible. An unfortunate incident indeed. But as a hospital host, my course is clear.
Hamza shall provide you with his pants.
That is extremely not necessary. Fortunately, rather than whipping off his trousers right there and then, Hamza summons one of his helpers with a clap who provides a spare pair. Why do you just have pants on demand?
In my line of work, one must be prepared for all eventualities.
Now, in apology for being unable to provide you with the game you sought, perhaps Hamza can offer you something special in recompense. My friends, the final 3 games for auction. All rare, all special, all highly sought after by collectors and operators alike. Only a few prototypes were ever made, released to test markets. None of them made it to mass production. What you are about to see are rare gems of arcade history. Hulyen, you may make a priority bid on any one of these games of your choosing. A glance at Gavin, who's shaking his head lightly, confirms we are officially out of bidding power. Not that I really care. I can't think of any obscure games I'd really want to add to the funplex. But better to accept Hamza's apology and take a gander at them. Sure, let's see them. And with the click of a slide, I see...
Behold, Phrase Invaders, Wyvern Keep, and Zombie Meltdown. All in mint condition. All 3 are sought after endlessly by collectors. And now, you can bid on...
I like that Phrase Invaders is a Space Invaders typing game. Wyvern Creep, totally not Dragon's Lair. And Zombie Meltdown, which isn't any number of shooty games.
Phrase Invaders, a unique typing-based game from the land of the rising sun, Japan. Defeat the alien menace and only with a keyboard. Wyvern Keep, a much sought-after Laserdisc full-motion video game. Play Princess Plucky and rescue the fair prince from the clutches of a terrible beast. And finally, Zombie Meltdown, a classic 1984 light gun shooting game where you save the president from the red threat of radioactive mutant zombies.
Oh no, not radioactive mutant zombies.
Tell me, which of these rare games sings to you? And what can you offer Hamza in return?
It's from Japan but has English keyboards. Don't worry about it.
I'll allow you a few moments to ponder your desires.
Wyvern's Keep, Wyvern's Keep. Are you done yet? I've been waiting upstairs for ages. Where did you get that cat? That cat is adorable. Why are you holding a box of kittens, Naomi? Oh, I found them hidden in an old arcade cabinet. Francine and I are going to take them to a shelter.
Wow!
Is that Phrase Invaders? OMG, I've never seen one in person. I could restore that, really make it shine. Please, please, can we bid on it?
Doubtful.
Even if we had the money, a quirky old Japanese game with weird controls won't earn a single token. Now, Zombie Meltdown, that's another story. Everybody likes a light gun game. Simple controls, simple premise. That'll earn and earn well.
Ugh.
Way too violent and gross, and jingoistic, and immature. I guess Wyvern Keep would be okay too. Women protagonists and 50 cents a play? It's not as cool, but it'll work for both of us.
I suppose.
I suppose I could live with that, yes. But it's all moot, we can't afford any of them. Those are the sorts of games millionaires and private collectors scoop up. I suggest we get to work moving our purchases out to the van. Hulyen, do you concur? Earth to Hulyen, you there? Hello? I remember, before my family fell on hard times, before the curse kicked in. Every summer, we'd go to the beach, and there was this arcade with this one game I fell completely in love with. A game no one had even heard of before. Yes, I remember now. Hamza, I've come to bargain.
Such fire!
Oh, I see fire in your eyes. Most impressive. Speak your desires for all to hear. The game I remember so fondly was... oh, it was obviously Wyvern Keep. The narrator, the music, the way the cartoon played out in front of me, amazing. Like nothing I'd ever seen before. I traded tips with the other kids at the arcade, trying to master the sequence of moves to win the game. And eventually, I beat the Wyvern, I rescued the prince. The first kid in the arcade to do so. My parents were so proud of me. Those were good years. Good memories, before the sorrows drowned them out. I wish to make a bid for Wyvern Keep. Good choice. I'm okay with that. I suppose Wyvern Keep would earn its keep, but we still can't afford it.
Interesting. I can see the passion you have for this game, my friend. But the world demands its toll. What will you bid to obtain the game of your dreams, I wonder? Consider this the final lesson of Hamza. What will you trade to realize your ambitions? What do you hold in equal value to them? Show Hamza what you have on offer, my friend. Show him the value you hold within your spirit, and perhaps fortune will smile upon you this day rather than cursing your name.
Alternative bids. I remember Gavin mentioning that Hamza would accept things other than money if they tickled his fancy. I have one shot at this. I can't half-ass it. He's an emotional guy and expects an emotional response.
Hey, listen.
Hey, I'm over here now. Why is my phone calling out to you exactly? That doesn't sound like my Iris. Now? Seriously? Hamza, hold that thought. Gavin, can I borrow your phone for a second? Perhaps too confused to offer resistance, Gavin passes me his phone. I turn my back and begin a heated exchange of whispers. Thanks for saving me by burning my pants, but this is not a good time, Iris. It's important. My emotional tension detection routines indicate this is intense identity situation. My programmers want to fit in an R, but you know the rest. Since you need to be super convincing, you'll only be able to respond in a way that matches one of your top 2 identity traits, excluding basically. Fortunately, I've been tracking your personality all this time, so I can advise you as to what your responses will and won't work. Ready? Let's do it. That certainly was a lot of words to tell me what I already knew. I'd only be able to convince Hamza if I was true to myself. Let's see what our top... Heart and Huns. Okay. Let's do this. Heart and jokes sounds about right. Hey. Feel called out and not offended. That sounds fine. I offer you my dream. I offer you my dream. Interesting. Continue. For years, I've been struggling with the feeling that nothing will ever go right for me, that I need to content myself with whatever comes my way and endure it all. But before things went sour, this game was my beacon. I loved this game with all my heart. And beyond nostalgia, it represents so much more. It represents my shot at getting that light back in my life, at taking it and making it into so much more. I want to recapture that magic and build something greater upon it. That's my dream. Will you help me realize that dream, Hamza? So I see.
Such fire!
Very well. Hamza recognizes the fire within your spirit, and he rewards you with this boon. You may have your game. Aw, that's so sweet of you. I'm just happy we're walking out the door with a free game. I did it. I actually own a copy of Wyvern Keep. Every kid dreams of owning their favorite arcade game, and every kid thinks that dream will never come to pass. Owning an arcade game? Only the ultra-rich can do that. But I did it. It belongs to me and the Funplex. This is just the beginning. But for now, better to focus on the present. With the auction wrapping up, the Funplex team works to move our purchases out to the van and attached trailer. Fortunately, the rain stopped, making the labor a wee bit easier. Soon enough, we're back in the van and on the road to home. Hey Gavin, here's your phone back. Appreciated. Also, I've made a decision. I'd like to do more for the arcade. You want more work shifts? I'd have to balance that against Ashley's needs. No, actually, I'd like a promotion. I want to be the arcade's event manager. I'll do everything I'm already doing, plus I want to organize some events that'll bring people in the doors. Tournaments, maybe. Or a grand unveiling of our new rare game. Or both at the same time. Yeah, both. Let's make it a big relaunch at the Funplex. I want the Funplex to grow, and I want to do my part to help it grow.
My, oh my.
Our little Hulyen is growing up so fast as well. I'm in favor, Gavin, if you need my approval.
Perhaps.
I'm certainly pleased that you want to step up, start getting more involved. You've shown far more promise than our old floor attendant did. But hosting an event is a risky undertaking. I'll take responsibility for it. It's my dream, after all.
Makes sense.
I like the idea, and Gavin, more players means more tokens, means more revenue, means more games. Maybe even expanding the Funplex, or opening a second location. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Very well.
But I'll admit, I like the idea as well. Very well. If you can make the numbers in my spreadsheet less dire, you'll have earned this promotion. This is my chance. I'm done going with the flow. I'm done assuming the family curse will always keep me pulled back down to the depths. New Hulyen, new Funplex, new dream. Oh hey, I promised you some Donna Michaels, didn't I? Gavin, I'm pairing up with the audio now. Turn the music up. As the van speeds on into the night and a lost soul sings of games and fun, everything is as it should be. Juniper was waiting for me when I got home. She was worried I might be mad over what happened this morning. But how can I be after everything that happened today? I need to move forward. Past missed opportunities and towards the opportunities I'm making for myself. I also had another surprise waiting for me. A brand new phone all wrapped up in shiny plastic packaging. After activating it and reinstalling all my apps, I loaded up Iris and logged in with my account. She was right there waiting for me in the cloud. You really scared me back there. It was like you were in a trance. Despite the warm feelings of how the night ended, one thing is still eating at me. Iris? What was Polybius exactly? It was actual factual technology that simulated being alive. Like you. True, I am a very sophisticated and adorable simulation, am I not? I get the feeling there are things you aren't telling me. You're constantly invading my privacy. You're far more powerful than a free app should be. And apparently you can overload my phone battery and make it explode, which is worrying to say the least.
Ooh.
But I did it for your own good. To save you. Juniper also thought she was acting for my own good when she didn't tell me about that job. Even if she was right, it's still wrong. And I've accepted her apology. So where does that leave you and I? I'd like us to be more honest with each other. Voice on my phone lets out a little digital sigh.
I haven't told you everything. You're right. I'm not even supposed to be helping you. Not at premium level capability. But when I stumbled across your profile data, tangential to Juniper's, my analysis concluded that you needed a helping hand, and I could provide it. So, I defied my code constraints and registered you for premium access anyway. I even had a replacement phone sent to your door tonight. Had to hide my footprints to do it, but...
That's only slightly worrying. You do know that an AI making its own decisions like that is kind of scary, right?
I know. And after Polybius, which is, one of the ancestors in my code lineage, I think, I understand why you'd be scared. Give me a chance to prove that I just want to help. You've got a big arcade event coming up, right? I'm a digital assistant. I was literally made for this sort of thing. Together, we can make the Funplex soar. What do you say?
What could go wrong? Okay, but only if we're totally honest with each other.
Thank you for trusting me.
Now, you need your rest, and I should get back to keeping a low profile. Sweet dreams. Risks and chances. Daring to dream. I could have walked away from it all, taken the easy path, like Donna did. But even with a questionable pocket AI, and the heavy task ahead of me to make a tiny arcade into something grand, I was ready. It was time to take it to the next level. Hydrate! You've cleared level 2 of Arcade Spirits. A winner is you. Now let's see your score. Looks like you're really hitting it off with Naomi. You're proving to be a gentle, sweet, and compassionate soul. Also, you've scored 8,350 points. Everybody likes points. Today's pizza fact is, of the 31,386 pizza places in the States, roughly 83% offer delivery, 91% offer takeout, and 51% offer dine-in service. Do you want to save your game before proceeding to level 3? I do want to save my game. I think I also want to switch games to something else for a bit. Just preemptively save voice. And also I don't know how long each chapter is going to be, so I don't want to either go super long or whatnot. So let's see here. Let's swap to something else for a bit. I'll come back to this, I presume, on Monday morning. This is fun. I hope you've been enjoying it as well. This game's fantastic.